Hi, my name is Rachael Woodward and I would like to introduce you to my action research proposal. I'm presenting you with a situational analysis of a school located in Blacktown in the Greater Western Sydney region where I was placed for my first practicum experience. The school is a low socio-economic, highly diverse, multicultural government-funded school with a total of 607 students. 126 boys, 281 girls, and a teaching staff that accumulates to 32 people. 61% of the students are from a language background other than English, and 4% of students are of Indigenous background. I was in a K1 class for my experience, set up modelled to promote collaboration between students, and it has 20 students in the class. The school supports and encourages peer-based/pro-based learning, PBL, in all classrooms as it has proven to motivate students and promote engagement as it is classed as future-focused learning. The school's vision is to provide a safe, nurturing and empowering environment. The centre of the learning, and through collaboration, students will become resilient, motivated, lifelong learners. PBL, which is incorporated and highlighted throughout the school through 21st century pedagogies like PBL. English has been a focus for the school. They have support teachers circulating through classes during their allocated English time to support students and provide one-on-one or small group assistance. Over the decade show a steady growth in the achievement levels in reading and writing within the schools in both Year 3 and 5 as a result of the reading and writing input in place at the school. They are still a slight concern as they are still under the reading levels in comparison to the rest of Australian schools. Look at the rationale. Project-based learning as a 21st century pedagogy has become a popular and essential part to teaching as it not only has the potential to support students' learning but also then to thrive off each other. County 2011 states that PBL builds positive attitudes towards self-efficacy and task values, which creates lifelong learners, which is very important to 21st century pedagogy as well as the school. Sintang 2017 explores how the learning takes both teachers and students into real-life situations, real problems, and real solutions in a way that the students cannot see barriers between what they learn inside the classroom and outside of the classroom. Through this, they have proven to stay in their long-term memory. Sintang and Munns 2013 both agree that PBL create meaningful and deep learning as students can develop their own capabilities and skills even if they differ from each other. PBL links well with the high cognitive, high affective and operative engagement in the MEE framework. The high operative links to PBL are where the students take into a deeper intellect engagement. High affective is evident in PBL as it is engaging and empowering for students, and lastly, high operative as it uses students' prior knowledge and is built on. Sawyer 2013 explains that it encourages the process of engagement through message and knowledge, ability, control, place and voice of the student, where they are in charge of their own learning and they are taking responsibility for it. PBL is a creative approach to learning which fits well with the 21st century pedagogy and a future-focused school. PBL is also a good chance for ELD students to practice their social skills, but also through collaboration, they deepen their understanding and vocabulary, which is beneficial for schools to ELD students like this one. May 2017 explores how PBL is an effective approach to learning as teachers realize how authentic and challenging learning experiences enable higher level of engagement. Teachers' efficacy increase in PBL and in turn increase student motivation as teachers step back and allow students to be the centre of learning. Their role becomes an assistant and not a leader. Here are my 3 learning experiences in my mini unit of work. Students throughout the learning experiences will be put into 5 groups of 4, consisting of 2 Year 1 students and 2 kindergarten students. They will need to complete their own unique narrative using an orientation, complication, and resolution. This will then be edited, rewritten. They will draw a storyboard and then they will present their findings and their research to the class. By the time Learning Experience 3 occurs, students are extremely excited. They can't wait to share their. Now explore the data collection method in this action research proposal. The work sample method is the first method of data collection that I have used. After the end of each lesson, students store their work and ideas in their project folder, which I will go through before the next lesson to make sure that they are on task and doing the right thing. Each student has their own paper with their names on it to write down their ideas and make it clear to look back on and take notes without them feeling like I am watching them. This can hinder their experience. At the end of all the 3 experiences, the groups hand in their project folders as well as their final product, which is their narrative and the pictures to go with it. Another form of work samples that will be collected, I will also take photos of students throughout the lesson experiences to document their progress. Lastly, in the 3rd lesson experience where students present their narratives, it will be recorded and uploaded to Google Drive and Seesaw, where parents and other members of the school can see their amazing work. This is also a good opportunity for me to access their presentation and public speaking skills to assess their work and their progress throughout the unit. The form of data collection will be observation method. Throughout the first lesson experience, I started a discussion about narratives and a few fairy tales to spark students' memories on the topic. Students will then do a think, pair, share task where the students are asked to break down the parts of an orientation and discuss together what they know. I will then take Campbell 2018's advice for this part and observe and take notes of the conversations that are filled out in a pre-made table below, as you can see, for quick and easy record. It will be kept for all the lesson experiences and used at the end to assess students' learning. This table will allow me to see which students are aware of the parts of an orientation, complication, resolution, but also what they contributed to the project. The record will be a number between 1 to 4, 1 being extremely low understanding and 4 being advanced understanding. Campbell 2018 discusses how this is a good method as it can be altered as they improve. Each student can be assessed on the same level. It is pretty much an extended version of the small group scan by Burton and Bartlett 2009 that will be altered and added throughout the PBL task. Students can go up and down based on their progress throughout the whole thing. Method of data collection is student self-reflection. PBL tasks are always incorporating self-reflection as it is student-centered, and the students are in charge of their own learning. In the first lesson experience at the end, as students in groups discuss and reflect on how they are going. They take this time to reflect on their own personal contributions as well as how they worked as a group. In the second lesson, students repeat the same group discussion and sit in a circle as a class to discuss what they have accomplished so far, which, as Yan 2017 highlights, is a way to observe and reflect mentally on our own abilities and work through without having to voice it. They can do it in their heads. Lastly, in the last lesson experience, students are given an opportunity to reflect on their own work twice. Firstly, in the editing process of their final project, as well as when they're given the chance to re-watch the recording of their presentation. Rosen 2017 explores through the MEE framework. Students are asked questions that allow them to reflect on certain aspects of their project. This is why we have done an interview with each individual student after the presentation, asking questions as you see on the slides below, and where they fit into the framework. For example, high affective, did you enjoy the PBL? High cognitive, what were some parts that you had trouble with? High operative, what was your biggest improvement? This is just to name a few. Teacher will pick 1 or 2 from each category and ask students in the end of lesson 3 in their individual interview. We will now move on to the analysis of student data part of this presentation. The MEE framework in English syllabus 2012 will be the core parts when analysing student data to evaluate student engagement, progress and achievement in the PBL task centred around English. There are observation notes, an observation table, observing conversations, work samples collected, a presentation as well as a self-reflection interview with students. The observation will happen throughout the lesson's experiences and the analysis of the student data will occur after the lesson experiences. Looking into the English 2012 syllabus organisation wheel of content as seen as the slide shown, the core is making meaning through language, followed by responding and composing, which is exactly what this PBL task was about and how the analysis of the data will begin. And then following the outer ring where it has the values and attitudes of student after the outcomes and objectives which PBL value experiences for their students and creates lifelong learning based on their attitudes. The analysis is conducted by asking questions to students, including, what are you thinking about this PBL? Do you think it was beneficial? What would you change? How would you make it better? The MEE framework will also be used to analyse the students' data as it is a big part of the planning and the 21st century pedagogy that is PBL. The table shown I have made to show the breakdown of each part of the framework, showing you what type of questions and how we are measuring students' engagement through this aspect. Linking both the MEE framework and the English 2012 syllabus, especially early stage 1 and stage 1, and content organisation, I am able to evaluate, analyse and assess the data collected on the students' data process and final project as well. The MEE framework will aid me in developing deeper in discovering students' engagement with these 3 core areas: high cognitive, high affective and high operative experiences within the classroom. The PBL task was implemented to enhance learning experiences and allow for the English outcomes to be met while in one lesson experience, the third one, the visual arts KLA was also used. The observational table / notes, conversations, as well as work samples collected are showing a variety of information needed to show and assess student engagement and understanding. Burden and Bartlett and Munns and Sawyer note that by using overtly and covertly observing, we see visible markers of engagement in a short time since it's only 3 learning experiences. Although openly observing can create tension and affect student engagement, this means I need to approach all data collection methods carefully. Both sets of data will help provide information on what activities and actions promoted by substantial student engagement and which aspects of my teaching pedagogies were effective, ineffective, or need improvement. There were multiple engagement markers as well as attitude markers like full body listening and contributing, but as well there were disengagement markers like young students sometimes lose interest or took longer to understand, so the stream of engagement was broken. Look at the affordances and limitations. There are a range of affordances and limitations to my student data analysis. For example, as it is a K1 composite class, there is both ES1 and S1 students are engaged at the same time, but younger students can lose concentration quickly and get off task. It also takes up more time to organise students, which means less time for observation, data collection, and physical project work. My work samples will demonstrate academic levels, and my criteria table will use both observational and conversational data and can be complete over the 3 lesson experiences, as younger students might change and develop new skills or remember skills that they had forgotten. As you can see, I have made a table clearly showing the affordances and limitations to all 3 methods of data collection that I have done. We will now move on to the summary statement. Ultimately, it is only through being an effective reflective practitioner that I will be able to assess the effectiveness of the adaptation towards PBL approach to teaching. To do this, I need to reflect on my practices through positioning core questions that would engage my higher order thinking, as I believe it is imperative to reflect up to 3 lesson experiences and activities to show how students respond to it. The Australian Professional Standards for Teachers, or AITSL, is a crucial way to improve my practice and ensure the standards are being met. I reflect and examine my teaching practices. I can see how I can improve to extract higher levels of engagement for my classroom. I'm also given the opportunity to receive feedback from teachers joining in the lesson experiences, so I can gain and take on some professional crucial feedback from colleagues, which fits into the standards 6.3 and 6.1 as shown on the screen. Standards 1.1, 1.2, 3.1 and 3.3 are immediately used when introducing PBL, from the organisation of groups to the planning of the task. I hope to have built and continue to build a deeper understanding of how to effectively select, organise and implement content through learning sequences, standard 2.2, to better my teaching abilities and student time in the classroom. 4.5 and 4.1 through the MEE framework have also been used, as I tried my best to effective classroom communication through questioning and discussion with students to develop student participation and engagement within the classroom. I anticipate that carrying out my action research will allow me to see theory and empirical frameworks in action, which I normally wouldn't without this approach. It should give me a deeper understanding on how students learn and how to effectively differentiate and utilise a variety of teaching strategies to support student engagement. Partaking in this action research project, I have made many links to the AITSL Professional Standards for Teachers, which I will take with me as I begin my teaching journey to hopefully improve and change my future pedagogies for students. Furthermore, I hope to increase education of the importance of engaging classrooms where students are the centre and responsible for their own learning by being active participants, especially in areas like English, with the use of PBL, as well as being able to effectively reflect on my practice to identify areas of need in my own teaching pedagogy. Thank you so much for watching my presentation.